I didn't think sprinklers could start a war. When we moved into Maple Ridge, my biggest concern was crabgrass. That changed the day I met Karen, the self-appointed queen of the HOA. She had opinions on everything: mailbox paint, acceptable garden gnome sizes, and apparently how often I watered my lawn. It started with a note: "Dear resident, your lawn is oversaturated. Please reduce watering immediately to preserve community resources." I checked my schedule: 10 minutes twice a week. Pretty normal. I ignored it. The next morning, she confronted me as I left for work. "You water too much," she said, arms crossed. "I follow the county schedule," I replied. "You're ruining the curb appeal for everyone." I smiled politely and drove off, assuming that was the end of it. It wasn't. 2 nights later, my sprinklers came on at 5 a.m. as usual, or so I thought. Except, they didn't shut off. By the time I noticed, the front yard looked like a swamp. Water was spraying everywhere, puddling into the street. When I went to check the timer box, the settings were changed. Someone had cranked them to run for 4 hours every day. And there, caught on my doorbell camera, was Karen at 11 p.m. the night before, fiddling with the box. I marched across the street, tablet in hand, and knocked. Karen opened the door, feigning innocence. "You messed with my sprinklers," I said, showing her the video. "That's a serious accusation," she sniffed. "I was just making sure our community stays beautiful." "You trespassed," I said, "and now you're paying for the water bill." "You can't prove damage," she said, and slammed the door. That night, while I was outside reprogramming the sprinkler timer, a police car rolled up. "Sir," the officer said, "we got a call about a resident making threats with irrigation equipment." I blinked. "What?" Behind him, Karen appeared, arms waving dramatically. "He's been harassing me. He has dangerous water pressure pointed at my property." The officer turned to me, clearly trying not to laugh. "She broke into my sprinkler box," I said, showing the footage. "She caused all this." We all watched the video. You could hear Karen gasping in the background as her plan crumbled. The officer sighed. "Ma'am, this is tampering with private property. If he presses charges, it's a crime." Karen's face turned the color of a ripe tomato. "I was trying to protect the neighborhood." "Ma'am," the officer said, "stop calling 911 for HOA disputes." I decided not to press charges, mostly because I knew she'd hate what came next. The next weekend, I installed a brand new smart sprinkler system with a lockable box and Wi-Fi cameras. I also planted a row of bright, neon pink flowers right along the sidewalk. Karen can't stand pink. A few days later, a dozen of my neighbors came over after seeing the video I'd posted in the community group. Turns out, I wasn't the only one. Karen had adjusted. Now everyone has cameras on their sprinkler boxes. And just for fun, several of them programmed theirs to turn on if anyone walks too close after 10 p.m. Since that night, Karen hasn't touched my lawn. She doesn't even make eye contact. And every time my sprinklers come on time, perfectly timed, I can't help but smile. Who knew irrigation could be an act of rebellion?